Alright, ladies and gentlemen, Magic here. I'm going to be doing some more casting for you today. We are not going to be doing Energy Fuzzy. I've been casting him quite a bit, so I'm going to switch over, do a little bit of ButteryLlama tonight, and cast some of his good Zergy goodness, I guess. He did end up giving me 5. I thought it was 3 because it was 3 emails, and he has been sending me one at a time. So I don't know if I'll have time to do all 5, but I'm going to for sure do 3 of them, and then if see how my voice is, and possibly do 4. Doubtfully I'll get to 5 because I do have my analysis coming up in an hour and a half. I do realize I am kind of like 5 minutes late today. I apologize for that, but well, it happens, right? So I mean, I've been going through analysis pretty much all day. I started at like 1 o'clock, and I've just been looking over the replays and making notes and whatnot for that. So we are going to have a good show tonight for my analysis. But without further ado, let's jump into some games here of ButteryLlama. He is a Grandmaster's level Zerg player. Let's see, make sure I get the Overlord gone. Okay, good. Awesome. Alright, so we have ButteryLlama spawned at the bottom 6 o'clock position here as our red Zerg player, and his opponent looks like he is Bosnick. Spawned as our Protoss player at the top northern position here at the 12 o'clock position. So it is a Zerg against Protoss on Metalopolis cross positions. I believe this is a ladder game, so I don't think that there is cross or close air or close ground positions. Wow. So we're not going to talk about that, but it is a long distance to your opponent's base. So we'll see if we see some macro games or not. It looks like Bosnick is going for a fast expansion, so I believe it is going to start out being a fairly good macro style game here. We'll see what ButteryLlama decides to do, if he's going to go pool first or for that hatch first. The hatch first you can do, it's alright. I mean, I wouldn't say that's better economically. It's actually like spot on. It's actually like almost exactly the same. I would actually say that pool first is a little bit better, but it really depends on how you do it. If you get that gas, it is going to set you back a bit because you're putting drones into the gas to get that fast circling speed, going to help you a lot early on. But then if you don't get the gas, then you're going to have some extra money that you could just spend on something else, maybe an Evo chamber, and get the gas for the Evo chamber and stuff like that. Just get a nice fast +1. And I like doing that. I like doing that against 4 gates. It helps out quite a lot to get that +1 for your Zerglings, and just crank out a lot of Zerglings if you see a 4 gate, and they just survive perfectly fine. So ButteryLlama here going for that fast pool. No gas taken quite yet. So that pool first. I do like this build quite a bit. You get a spawning pool and then no gas, and then you just get a hatchery when you get those first Zerglings out, so you can guarantee your success of the hatchery to make sure that it grows properly and that the probe does not block it or any funny business like that. Alright, so we do have the first scouting drone out here right as the next goes down for Bosnick. And we'll see, well, Bosnick has already scouted. He does have a probe out here, checking to see when that expansion goes down. Alright, so there was a cancellation. Oh, okay, he's getting the queen out with that cancellation. Just didn't have the Overlord out in time, just wanted that queen right away with those 4 Zerglings. Just droned a little bit too much, maybe. Or perhaps just decided, okay, I'm just going to do it this way and be perfectly cool with that. It does set you back a little bit just because you don't have that Overlord, so you can't produce more drones right now. You got to wait for that Overlord to pop out. But he will be getting that hatchery in a sec. Maybe not. What is he doing? He's just kind of wandering around the map with that drone. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But well, I guess he's going to be taking the goal instead, saying, hey, you know what? I'm just going to go for it because you're taking a fast expansion. You know what? You're not going to be able to pressure me right now, so I'm going to be taking the gold and be perfectly cool with that. The only thing about the gold is your opponent can attack from both sides when they're in cross. So it's kind of annoying because they can attack from this ramp or from this ramp down here. So I mean, where do you put your spines? Do you put them on this side, or do you put them on this side, or maybe just around the hatchery? I don't really know. Like if there's a 4 gate, well, obviously it's not a 4 gate, but if there was a 6 gate, what do you do against it? You can't really get up too many spines. I mean, you can get up some spines, but it's just better to get some units with that, with this kind of expansion. And of course, the gold will help you get up a lot more units with that extra income there. So anyways, Bosnick is going for, let's see, he's got 2 gas already. Looks like first gate is just finishing now, so he is getting a lot of gas pretty darn early here, so I believe he's probably going to be going for a Stargate play with this. We'll see after he puts down that robotics, there's that, or not robotics, the cybernetics core. We'll see what he goes after that once it's finished. Meanwhile, back at the Zerg camp, he is taking his natural at the same time, so he's just kind of doing a nice double expansion. Now, this is kind of really early for a second expansion, like even, you know, like too early this early on. Like, you just don't have enough drones to really use all that larva. And, you know, if you get queens at all of them, you're just going to have too much. But he is taking the gold, so, I mean, that is the only reason why I do like this play. Because the gold is going to help you seed this, pretty much. You're going to be able to get up a lot more drones with that extra larva, so that's going to help out quite a bit. And then we'll see what he does for defense. He is taking the gas right now, so I believe that's for the Zergling speed first, and then possibly a +1, possibly layer, possibly some roaches or banelings. We'll find out. Anyways, back at the Protoss camp, looks like the Cybernetics is done, and there's that Stargate going to be plopping down there. And, well, as Zerg, it's kind of hard to scout for this kind of play. You kind of just have to be ready for it. You know, if your opponent expands down here, and he has a cannon here, you can't really just get a Zergling into the main. Like, you can sacrifice a couple to run by that cannon, or something like that. That is good. That does let you see if there's 2 gas there, and that's going to tell you if there is a Stargate play or not. But yeah, generally speaking, you don't see a robotics after this. You do see a Stargate or a 6-gate, so we'll see how much pressure he's able to do with those Void Rays once they pop out. Or if he goes Phoenix, I suppose he could go Phoenix. Maybe Phoenix Void Ray, you know, if he just wants Phoenix, he could just pick off Overlords, and that's going to be nice. But with Phoenix and and Void Rays, you can of course pick off Queens quite nicely, assuming that your opponent does not have a Spore Crawler in the right place. But ButteryLlama getting up that extra queen, going to be helping with that, so he's getting an extra queen at his natural. So he's going to have 4 queens here, pretty much 2 at, you know, this natural and his main, and then 2 at the gold, so that's going to help him quite a bit against any kind of Void Ray play. So the first Void Ray is going to be popping out here in just a moment. We do have a couple more gateways coming online as well. And, you know, that's pretty much just to spend your money. Like, you're going to get a bunch of money off these 2 expansions. You need production building, so he's building some good stuff there. You could take another base, of course, with that extra money, but you're just going to die because you don't have defense at all. You don't have getting units, so I'm glad he's adding on a whole bunch of gateways right now. That's pretty much what you have to do in this kind of situation. Just need gateways with your Stargate. So, I mean, I don't know if he's going to do a nice assault with air and ground at the same time, combine the 2, or he's going to send Void Rays out here right away. Looks like he's going to be sending the Void Rays out right away, so picking off some Overlords, controlling the map a little bit. 2 queens are out, so I mean, this one Void Ray is not going to be able to do a lot of damage. But it looks like he's going to be picking off that Overlord before retreating back to the Protoss home fleet. But we do have a couple of sentries coming out here, and we'll see when he decides to push out. Generally speaking, it's kind of hard to push out, you know, like, after it's, like, I feel like it's really hard to push out as Protoss, period. But, like, after this kind of, this timing with your natural expansion, it's like, okay, I need a bunch of units, I got my Void Rays out, when can I really push in there where I'm not going to get counterattacked and just destroyed? So it's kind of really annoying to, as Protoss, to see a whole bunch of counterattacks. I mean, Zerglings run in here right as you move out. It's nothing to, you know, not be afraid of. That's something pretty scary for any Protoss player. I actually rejoice seeing Protoss move out. Whoops! Whoa! I can't believe I did that. Accidentally rewound the replay, but yeah, that's how bad I am at casting. But anyways, Volsnik is coming out of his base right now. He does have 2 Void Rays. One is half dead. Of course, those shields, you know, he's not really half dead because the shields is, you know, helps out quite a bit. But there are 3 queens out here. That's quite a few queens. Actually, a 4th queen just came out here. He does have some banelings and Zerglings, and the banelings look like they're going to come in here, but it looks like there's a couple of force fields. Not the best force fields I've seen ever, but it looks like he's going to be taking out a bunch. Well, those banelings did explode on some good stuff there, but the Zerglings are going to be thwarting this attack. The Queens look like they're going to be just fine with this extra Void Ray hanging back. And, well, the Zealots have come to the rescue of those Stalkers. And we'll see if Volsnik decides to push in there once again or not. Just for the record, I do see a lot of lower-end players just kind of like, okay, they attack and then they just lose everything. If your opponent has more stuff, you better back off. Like, that's how you want to do it. You want to back off. Unless you know for sure you have a much better economy than him, then yes, you can just keep throwing units at him and eventually he'll just die. But, well, looks like Volsnik coming in here once again. A couple of good force fields blocking those newly born banelings. And, well, there's a lot of Zealots out here, so I don't know, those banelings are going to explode on everything, looks like, and that is going to hurt Protoss quite a bit. Lots of Zerglings cleaning the place up now, and even a couple of banelings still left alive. Bosnick in a lot of trouble at this point. I mean, both players, I guess, have a bunch of money saved up, and Bosnick, I don't think, yeah, he doesn't have, like, any units right now. He could have expanded during that, he could have added on more units during that, but he's not really sure what he can do. Apparently, against a fast gold. Personally, I feel like you just need to not lose your shit when you pressure in there, and then expand during that pressure, and then build up your forces and all that good stuff. Just for the record, if anyone's curious as to what you might want to do. Yeah, as ButteryLlama's saying, just don't fee, don't fast expand ever on this map, because I'll just kill you. Just don't do it, because I'm that good. I'm just gonna own you every time. So don't even bother. And now, at this point in time, it looks like Bosnick trying to expand again. He's not going to be doing that too well. There are a lot of Zerglings out here. And actually, the Zerglings are retreating now. Alright, so now they're coming back in there. Well, nope, they're going to back off once again. Just for the record, once that Nexus goes up, like, you have this, like, timing right when it goes up where you can just, like, send your Zerglings in and just kill it. Or force a cancel. And I feel like that's, like, a really nice play. Just to, like, force a loss of 100 minerals. That's going to be really nice. But of course, you might end up losing a lot of Zerglings depending on where his army is. Just in that situation, I would say that it would be a good idea. But either way, looks like he's coming in here now, going to be taking that out. And, well, Bosnick, he doesn't really have a lot of guys to deal with this. I mean, there aren't a lot of Zerglings here. There aren't a lot of banelings. But, well, there's, I mean, well, there's enough. You know, they're going to be taking out a lot of guys here. Actually, yeah, there they go, exploding on all those Stalkers, and now there's just Zealots left pretty much, and a couple of Void Rays, but, well, Zerglings don't have, are not very good against, Zealots, but, the Banelings, of course, dealing massive damage to them. And now ButteryLlama taking another base at the bottom here, is natural third, and just cranking out a couple of extra Zerglings. Being, you know, just so good, you know, knowing that, okay, I gotta expand while I lay down all this pressure, you know, just get more and more ahead. That's exactly what ButteryLlama is doing, and, well, Bosnick looks like he's going to be throwing down some cannons here with those pylons. I'm not sure if ButteryLlama is going to be able to get in there right now. He's more from those banelings, so it's going to take a sec, but I don't know when these cannons are going to get finished. Looks like he does have a timing right now. He could go back in there, you know, those banelings could really do a lot of damage to these Zealots. But not that the cannons are going to be done in a moment. Oh, okay, he's going to go for it. He does have a lot of banelings still, like I was just saying, and I don't know if these cannons are definitely not going to be done in time. There's good cancellation on those, and we do have some Zealots going to be exploding here in just a moment. The Zerglings cutting off the retreat, and the Zealots explode all over the Protoss base. This expansion, once again, going to be cancelled, and, well, ButteryLlama, he does have a bunch of money saved up still because of that gold. I wish he would throw down a macro hatch. But whatever, you know, he's got Inspire. He's going to be getting some upgrades with that, possibly laying down some more pressure with some more, with some mutas here. Once he gets those guys out. Protoss, meanwhile, has gotten up a couple of carriers. Carriers are pretty darn good against Zerglings, and I mean they're pretty good against Hydras even if you micro them very well. But not so good against mutas. I don't feel like they're very good against mutas because I don't know, mutas are just pretty awesome overall. And carriers are just so slow. Like, you could use them to attack, but then mutas can just, like, counterattack, go around them, and just, like, attack your probe line. You can lose a bunch of probes, and then you can come back and defend with those mutas, and you'll be screwed. So it's quite hard to use carriers like that. You really need a bunch of bases so you can afford, like, a lot of carriers and a lot of other stuff to support them. They're kind of like brood lords in a way. You need support for them. They can't just go in there solo and deal a bunch of damage. They need to have support with infestors or Zerglings. You know, in this case, for Protoss, it'd be like Stalkers and Zealots, Sentries, of course. And, well, more Zerglings coming here, destroying more cannons. But there are a bunch of Zealots and things. I don't know, actually, Zerg doing quite a bit of damage to these Zealots. Well, okay, Zerg is going to be cleaned up here. Plenty of Zealots lost, though, in this predicament. I'd say definitely a +1 for Zerg. Just getting a little bit more ahead with that, you know, just keeping the Protoss numbers low. And if your Protoss doesn't have a lot of, or if your opponent doesn't have a lot of bases, it's going to be just so good to be doing that kind of thing. Just keeping the numbers low so that, you know, your small army keeps trading with his small army, and then his army will never grow to the full size and full capabilities that it'll have. So, You know, that's kind of like how you want to be playing against Protoss, if at all possible. Keep those numbers low. Of course, it is kind of hard to attack in there at certain locations, but ButteryLlama doing a good job just finding little holes in the Protoss defense here, and he's going to be taking out that Nexus. The Nexus is going to go down once again, and, well, Ballsnake going to have to GG here in a minute. There's just not enough stuff. He's just not able to get up his economy. ButteryLlama just punching it so hard. And I mean, his Zerglings have +2 attack, +1 armor. You know, the Bosnick does have only +1 attack for all of his ground forces. Looks like +1 for his aerial forces, so that's quite good. But you know, it's not going to be enough. Zerglings just do so much damage with that +2 attack. And so now the Muta is just waiting. Just going to be chilling. ButteryLlama did take another base. He's going to be able to transfer. Yeah, he's just transferring those drones over from the gold as it is drying up. And, well, Bosnick looks like he's going to be going for one final attack. When you're kind of this low on bases against a Zerg opponent, you're pretty much screwed. You know, like, unless it's super early on, of course, and Zerg doesn't have a ton of bases. But, well, all these carriers, I don't know, they might do a lot of damage. I don't know. I feel like Zerg definitely has enough. He does have a lot of Corruptors out here. Corruptors, of course, #1 counter to carriers as Zerg. They do extra damage against Massive, which the carrier is a massive unit, so yeah, massive. So yeah, this base looks like it's going to go down, but not a big deal. ButteryLlama just biding his time, doing the smart thing, and now he's going for the main force here. Sentries and whatnot going to be exploding, and there's just a lot of Corruptors out there. There's really nothing that Protoss can do. These carriers are toast. And even a whole bunch of Zerglings just chilling at the back here. Gonna go for a counterattack, it looks like, and there's even some Overlords just chilling by the Protoss third. Just gonna be chilling there, you know, saying, you know what, I don't care if you're, you know, whatever you do, they're gonna survive because you don't have enough to really kill them off. But anyways, there's that GG from Bosnick, and that wraps up that game. So let's go into our next game here. As I drink some water, I actually ran out of honey. You know, usually I drink honey with these casts, so I can, like, it helps relax the voice and prepares me for, like, analysis later on. But I don't have any more honey. I just totally forgot to run to the store. Actually, I just didn't have time, and I was just so tired yesterday. I was just like, you know what, I don't want to run to the store. So I'll probably be doing that tomorrow, hopefully. Alright. Alright, so let's search for this next game. Hopefully I don't start slurring my words too hard. That tends to happen when my voice is tired, and without honey it's probably going to get pretty tired, but well, that's why I'm going to set some time aside to have a break between this cast and my analysis, so I can rest my voice a little bit, all that good stuff. Rest my jaw muscles. Alright, game number 2 here. We have Bishu Tenshi spawned as our red Protoss player at the 2 o'clock position. And we have, of course, ButteryLlama spawned at the bottom. It's like the 5 o'clock position here as a blue Zerg player. And his Antigua is Shipyard, so it's a map I'm not all that familiar with just because I don't ladder, but you know, just by looking at it you can tell what's good and what's not good. I mean, there is a pretty small ramp here. It's in a way like Shakur's Plateau because that small ramp, but it is a little bit further out, so I mean it's kind of hard to just like put up buildings there and defend it, especially as Zerg, because you gotta spread creep there first. And well, so it's not really too likely that he's gonna be throwing down an evolution chamber or anything like that here to wall this off a little bit, but he might be doing it a little bit here by his gas and all that good stuff. Meanwhile, for Protoss, we'll see if he goes for a fast expansion. Looks like he is. He does have a pylon there going up, being erected. That's the natural. And, well, let's see. There's no probes coming off to, well, okay, he's got to wait a little bit for, like, 13 supply, so he can afford that gateway. For all you lower level players out there, never cut worker production. Ever. 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 So, I mean, don't try to rush to get the gateway. Don't rush to get the cybernetics core or a Stargate or whatever. Just get it when you can afford it. You know, that's what he's doing right now. He just got this forge when he can afford it on 13. I mean, that's generally why you get a 13 gates or a 13 forge or whatever, because that's when you can afford it without cutting pro production. Now, of course, if you're a really high level player, I'd say yes, of course, cut production if you want to. I mean, you know the game well enough that you know what it means, what it's going to do to you, and you know what you're doing enough to say, okay, that's going to be a good idea. But Bishu Tenchi going to be scouting now. Looks like there are 5 drones coming off here just to go off that probe. That seems kind of strange. I guess he really just doesn't want to deal with the wall off. Let's see, he hasn't found Protoss. He doesn't even know if there's a forger yet. But you know, since there is an expansion first, you definitely want to make sure that this does not happen. Yeah, actually, Tenchi going for that cannon at the ramp. Yeah, and this is actually what I like doing. I like doing a fast hatchery against Protoss, but then of course a lot of Protoss players are able to get up that cannon at the ramp, and that's really annoying to deal with as Zerg. But it looks like ButteryLlama just saying, you know what, you're not going to do it. I'm just going to send all my drones out there. Well, not all of them, but you know, a good handful to make sure that does not happen. And potentially, oh, he's going for that pylon right there. I don't know, these drones could definitely attack it. I mean, he did kind of cut a lot of minerals off here because he just has these guys out here. So I mean, this pylon could definitely be a big thing, but of course, since there are no probes left, there's not going to be any cannons, and that's going to be cancelled there. And yeah, the pool is just about to finish anyways, so that wouldn't really work out. So just kind of being annoying with that pylon going up, saying, hey, you know what, I could still put down cannons, you got to attack and kill it off. I'm going to force you to not send those guys back to mining. Alright, so Tenchi does have another probe out here, just kind of looking around. Probably going to be setting up another, or a proxy pylon, probably one up here somewhere, just to be able to put guys down here whenever you want, you know, just to harass wherever you want. Usually, generally, you put that pylon by the 3rd or 4th base, and then you can just say, okay, if you expand here, I can just harass it with this pylon, and it's up to Zerg to really find that pylon. You really want to scout the map, like around, well, I don't know, when you take a 3rd, you want to scout the map. Of course, you want to scout the map as soon as you get Zerglings to see if there's a pylon with like a Stargate on it or something like that, something crazy. Then you want to scout again when you take a 3rd, just to like look for pylons, because that could just kill your 3rd. Like, you could push out with the main force on your natural, and then warp in guys at that pylon and take out your 3rd while he's doing that pressure at your natural. So I mean, it's a good idea just to get up, just to look for that pylon, make sure that doesn't happen, and guarantee that that 3rd is going to be safe. And that's going to be excellent play. But anyways, ButteryLlama looks like he's scouting once again with the drone. Going to be looking around. Looks like a couple of Zerglings managed to get into the natural here, past that cannon before it was finished. Actually, it looks like he took a hit from a cannon, so possibly one died and then one got hit on the entrance there. But those 2 Zerglings could scout. It looks like he's not going to scout the main, just going to say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to be a nuisance, just going to attack your probes here. And just be annoying. And now the Zergling's trying to get out with that cannon, of course. Getting a couple kills off there. And, well, 3rd hatchery going down for ButteryLlama. There is no pylon over here. You could check it, but of course, it's kind of just like, whatever. There's not going to be a pylon this close on this kind of map. Now, it's really more for, like, those bigger maps, like, I mean, I guess, like, Sugar's Plateau is, like, the perfect map for it. Because, I mean, you have your 4th right by your 3rd. I mean, assuming that you take, you know, the vertical expansions for your 3rd and 4th, and then if you don't scout that pylon, then Zealots could just warp in and just kill off a hatchery or something. So you got to be careful of that, you know. But once again, on this map, you don't have to deal with it as much. So Bishu here, he does have a wall in the front by the ramp here, since well, like I was saying, it's a little bit further away from your nexus here. But for Protoss, of course, you don't have to build on creep, so that's going to be just fine. A couple of Zerglings out here for ButteryLlama, going to be throwing down some pressure, just making sure that Bishu has units. If Bishu doesn't have enough units to defend this, you know, Zergling's going to get in there and just be a nuisance, kill off some probes and all that. This is the way you want to pressurize Zerg. You don't want to build like 10 roaches and like try to do some damage to them. I see a lot of lower end players try to do that. You can't do that, because that is pretty much an all-in. You can't just build on roaches. Like a couple of Zerglings, that's fine. That's not a huge economic thing that you're going for. You know, like roaches, you need gas, you need minerals. They don't cost that much larva, but I mean, you are spending quite a bit of money on them, and then you gotta make sure you get enough damage. And Zerglings, of course, very good at running by stuff. So I mean, if your opponent is just not ready for it, just not watching, then you can punish him for it. So anyways, ButteryLlama just getting up a lot of drones here. It does have 58, actually 57 now. He just built something somewhere. It's a 44 probes here. So Bishu, you know, he's getting up what he can. He does have a lot of gas. You know, this is kind of a blunder right now, actually, just getting up too much gas too early. Now, unless he's going for Dark Templar or something like that, he does have Blink on the way. No Dark Shrine, no High Templar or anything like that, but you want to be careful with your gas. I mean, it doesn't seem like, oh, like 500 gas, not all that much, but that's roughly like 650 minerals that you could have had. That could have been like some buildings, could have been another Nexus, could have been some probes, could have been a whole bunch of units, you know, like, it is kind of a big deal. So, I mean, you do want to watch and make sure that your gas is not too high compared to your minerals. You want to have pretty much no gas, no minerals. Like, that's best, of course. I'd say too much gas is a little bit worse than having too many minerals, because minerals are, to me, easier to spend than if you have too much gas and like no minerals. Because with minerals, you just throw on some production buildings, you throw up some hatcheries, you expand, you throw up some probes or whatever, and you're good. You don't have to worry about it. But with gas, it's kind of like you have to get some kind of higher tech stuff with it, and you're just adding on too many lower tech units, or you just don't have enough drones getting minerals. And that's another big thing that I've noticed a lot in lower end play. So ButteryLlama does have one Zergling just kind of running back and forth here, just kind of doing it, just to make sure, like if Protoss goes right by here, then he's going to see it, and then that Zergling's going to run back. Also, just continuing to have some Zerglings out, make sure that, you know, if Protoss runs out here, these Zerglings could counterattack. You know, just have some Zerglings out. It's a good idea just to take out this wall if you want to. Keep some guys here, and if Protoss expands, you can just run up there, and it's going to be really annoying. And of course, it is better to take out that rock before he puts up a wall there, because I mean, once he puts up a wall there plus cannons, that's like a double wall, and that's going to be impenetrable. Well, I can't talk right now, but there are some units in the main here going to be doing some damage, but there are a lot of Stalkers back here. With that blink, they did manage to get back here pretty fast, and well, Stalkers taking some heavy damage, some pretty good blink micro going on, and well, these mutas are going to be forced to retreat. And yeah, that sucks. I hate seeing this. Like, you attack Stalkers, and then they just lose some shields, and then they just regenerate the shields. They don't lose any hit points. They're not actually doing any damage at all. That is just super annoying. Some more blink play here going on. But here comes some Zerglings. Well, ButteryLlama doesn't have a lot of Zerglings, doesn't have a lot of mutas here. This is actually a pretty big force of contention right now, and I really hope ButteryLlama, yeah, he's getting up a ton of Zerglings right now. He's going to be totally cool with that. Busting down the rocks, Tenchi is, and well, he's going to be able to threaten this third in a moment. And it is a pretty narrow area here. It's going to be hard for ButteryLlama to defend this, but we'll see how many more Stalkers he's going to be able to add on here. It looks like nothing quite yet, just added on some pretty good blink, just getting backed up. But then of course your sentries are in front, and that sucks. And here comes the banelings. A couple of Zealots being warped in here, trying to take some extra damage from the, you know, take the heat off the Stalkers there, hopefully allowing the banelings to explode on them. Banelings, of course, not going to be biting, just going to be running away, saying, you know what, I don't care. You can follow me around. I'm not going to explode on you. I like you too much. Here comes Zerglings and the mutas, cleaning that up, and we'll see when Bishu decides to expand. It's kind of getting late here. I mean, with that timing on this expansion, you want to kind of expand soon. He doesn't look like he has a lot of probes out here. Looks like he just hasn't been macroing all that well, maybe just playing a bad game. Either way, it's whatever. But we do have a warp prism back here. We're warping in some guys. Cancelled on that, and well, void prism or warp prism going to be killed off there as well. Just too many Zerglings out. ButteryLlama just too fast. For the record, I would say it's best to do it in the main, just because it's your Zerg opponent's not going to be looking there as much. But then you have to cross this anyways, and so Zerg's probably going to find out anyway. So I mean, it's kind of like whatever, just go there. But ButteryLlama taking another expansion. Very good timing on that. So let's see, does he have? Yeah, he does have a macro hatch going up. I would like to see this a little bit earlier. I'm really surprised that someone at this level doesn't get it a little bit earlier. But whatever works for him, you know. Here we see another counterattack with these mutas. Looks like Zergling's going for the main as well. Nope, he's going to be going for those Stalkers. Here comes the mutas. Going to be doing a double aerial ground attack here on these Stalkers, and these Stalkers are going to be screwed. They're going to just die off. Good thing for Blink they can get out of there. But they did take some pretty good damage there. And here comes the mutas once again. Coming in there. And there's another Blink. And well, actually, yeah, the Zealots keep him at bay for now. You got to be really careful as Zerg. You don't want too many things to die here. Full bandits going off on that cannon, and Protoss going to be forced to GG here, I believe, in just a moment. Just not enough stuff. I mean, he does have quite a bit of money. He could have spent it on something. And, well, I feel like he just didn't macro probes that well, didn't get up his third fast enough, and now he's being abused for it. You know, he just lost too much stuff in that attack. Zerg defended it too easily, and, well, so you have to be really careful with how you attack as Protoss. No GG, just a leave, which tends to happen once in a while, but hey, you know what? It's just a game, not a big deal. Alright, let's see, game number 3 here. Should we do this one? Yeah, let's do this one first. See, make sure I don't have the overlay up. I gotta check that so often now because I just screwed it up so many times, like last week, that I just can't even believe it, you know. But anyways, Cookie Jar playing a mean red Zerg has spawned at the left-hand side at the 9 o'clock roughly, and of course we do have ButteryLlama spawn at the top right here as our blue Zerg. So it is a Zerg against Zerg on the Shattered Temple in cross positions. There is no close positions any longer on this map, so don't have to worry about that. Of course, in this matchup, I don't really mind seeing a close position. You know, you just gotta play a little bit differently, and it works out totally fine. So whatever, you know. But I don't know, it's been a while since I've done Zerg against Zerg. Actually, I guess it's been like almost exactly a week. So I did have a Zerg against Zerg I cast, I believe, on last Monday. But anyways. Cookie Jar getting a 9 pull up. That's pretty darn early. And just for the record, when you go for like a really early pull to get up 6 Zerglings as soon as possible, you want to be building drones while that pull's going up. Like, it takes time. Like, I'd see a lot of players get that spawning pull and just have like a ton of larvae just sitting there. And it's like you can actually build like 2, maybe even 3 drones while that pool's going up. You know, like 2 drones and an overlord, or you know, maybe 3 drones and then double gas trick and all that good stuff. So I mean, there are ways around it that will be cool. Just for the record, 8 pool is pretty awesome because you can get the pool on 8 and then drone to 9, which is 2 drones, and then get the overlord, and you'll get the overlord exactly when you get that extra third larva, and then you can get the pool. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened here. And we do have 3 sets of Zerglings coming out here. ButteryLlama going for the fast expansion. It is a big map. There is no close position here, so I mean that pretty much guarantees that your opponent's gonna be going hatch first. That's like a good indicator saying, hey, you know what, hatch first is a good idea. So I can see why Cookie Jar is going for that fast Zergling pool. Just that 9 pool is going to be pretty awesome, just because of that hatch first. So anyways, the pool just started, so I mean ButteryLlama here probably gonna be losing a hatchery. Maybe not, we'll see. We do have 15 drones for ButteryLlama, 12 for Cookie Jar, so it's 3 drones behind at this point. But ButteryLlama, of course, does not have any Zerglings out because there's no pool yet. So these Zerglings threatening this hatchery at the natural, and well, he's gonna have to pull off some drones. Maybe. Apparently, he's not gonna pull any drones off. He's thinking about it. He's got all the drones selected. Okay, now he's going for it. Gonna be killing off these Zerglings with them. And just for the record, Cookie Jar is not going all in with this. This is just a light opening pressure. So, I mean, he doesn't have to do a ton of damage. He needs to kill something. You know, that's with that early pull, you need to kill something. But, yeah, actually, this hatchery is pretty darn close to dead. And all these drones pulled off a mining, so, I mean, that's already good. If these Zerglings just retreated, that would actually be pretty darn awesome. We'll see what he does with them. It looks like ButteryLlama not adding on any Zerglings right now. Actually, nobody's... Well, okay, he's adding on 2 queens. A couple Zerglings out. And, well, some careful micro here. He's about to lose the... okay, some very good micro there. Just losing the 2 Zerglings at the same time instead of one, then the other. Just having one Zergling at very low health, attacking for a little bit longer than he could have. But here comes a spine going up for ButteryLlama. There's 4 Zerglings still alive for Cookie Jar. And actually more Zerglings are on the way, 4 more to be exact. And while that spine was cancelled, we'll see what is the count at with 16 drones for ButteryLlama, 13 now for the Cookie Jar monster. And well, these Zerglings they're gonna have to try to do some more pressure here, because I mean with these spine crawlers, if they finish, that's going to be the end of this pressure. He really needs to get in there before these are done, because he's not going to get into the main. The queens are blocking it. Now, with these spines finished, then that's not going to work either. So this is a good time for ButteryLlama to drone up once these are actually finished. And yeah, he actually got some Zerglings out to help defend these while they're going up. And now we can continue to drone. Some 4 drones coming off, and that last spine crawler, of course, as well. So we'll see if he returns the queens to spewing some larvae. Just going to keep them at the ramp. Meanwhile, at the cookie jar's base, he did get a roach warren, so it looks like he's still going pretty much all in at this point. Now he's looking to expand at the same time, so I don't know. I don't like this play from cookie jars so much. It's just too much of everything. Like, this is something that I see a lot of, well, I guess usually lower end players make this mistake. They get like a bunch of tech buildings and then try to expand. They have like 0 units. And, well, I mean, cookie jar, he knows that he can get away with this because, well, my opponent just added on a bunch of spines. He's probably not going to be attacking me with a bunch of Zerglings. You know, like, I'm going to get up some Zerglings in the meantime just in case. But, you know, it's a good idea not to attack when you have so much defense. Of course, unless you're throwing up the defense so you can attack. Like, for example, if you want to throw down some pressure with your Zerglings and throw up a couple of spines, just be safe, you know, that's fine. Just got to be really careful with how you do it. But anyways, looks like Cookie Jar just going to be trying to contain a little bit for now. Nope, going to go in there. Gonna try to run past some duders. Just checking the queens out, making sure that he can't get in there. Running back out. And ButteryLlama, he does still have slow Zerglings, so I mean that's kind of rough. He's getting the gas right now for his speed. That's going to help him out quite a bit. But we do see some roaches coming out here from Cookie Jar. And we'll see if he lays down some pressure with them. Now, they are pretty darn slow, you know, without that plus speed upgrade. I mean, they're the same speed as a Hydralisk off creep, which is the same speed as a Marine and a Zealot and a whole bunch of dudes. So it's really not all that slow. It's just, it seems really slow compared to Zerglings, because Zerglings are just so darn fast. But, you know, if he pushes out here, there could be some counterattacks from ButteryLlama, but of course we do have these fast Zerglings out here as well, and ButteryLlama does not have speed. So, I mean, I believe it would be a good idea just to attack in there with those roaches. I mean, assuming that he gets enough of them up, he could kill off some of these spines and all that. Or he could go the other way and go for a lot of economy, you know. Just pressuring with these Zerglings just being a nuisance. And, I mean, this is just a good idea because that's going to force ButteryLlama just to worry about defending instead of adding on drones and stuff like that, you know. It takes a really good player to not be distracted by that, you know. Like Idra, of course, can do that. Can say, okay, I need exactly this many guys to defend, and I'm just going to keep adding on drones while defending. You know, like, he has a bunch of Zerglings in his base or something, he'll just be like, okay, I'm just going to build some drones. It's all good. But, of course, not everyone's Idra, so, ButteryLlama does have a bunch of money. He could be throwing down a macro hatch, maybe another expansion. He's just going to go for the layer, it looks like. And he does have all 4 of his gases, so I believe he's going to be going for, well, I guess either for Infestor or for Mutas. You know, of course he could just go Roaches, get up some good upgrades, but it doesn't have any of the stuff for it, so I don't believe it's going to be that one. Banely Nest going up, no Roach Warren at all. He's got to know his opponent probably has some roaches now or something. I mean, that's what I'd expect anyway. I don't know. That's just kind of like intuition. That's not really like scouting or anything like that. That's just like me, like saying, okay, he's probably got roaches at this time because roaches are good. You know. Anyways, looks like some Zerglings trying to go in there for a counterattack, but Cookie Jar has too many creep tumors out here. And wow, those Zerglings just came right up there, attacked that creep tumor, and these roaches are out of position. That's kind of the danger of just keeping them out in the middle. In this kind of in this matchup, Zerglings are just so darn fast, and now it looks like these drones trying to just surround that queen so the Zerglings cannot attack it, and while the Zerglings not going to be able to pick that off, it looks like, and well, Cookie Jar is just going to be fine with that. Drone counts, we have 43 for ButteryLlama, 28 for Cookie Jar, and ButteryLlama still laying on spines. That's going to be really pretty nice, and he's going for those destructible rocks, so he's probably going to be expanding soon. And even constricting movements even more, getting up that evolution chamber. And this is actually, I like this quite a bit on this map. You know, this is like a pretty narrow spot. It's hard to attack in there with anything. I mean, if roaches came up here, and actually it looks like the roaches have come up here, they're not going to be able to get in there. That's too much. Like, I mean, yeah, there are plenty of roaches here, but I mean, he does have Zerglings back here, he does have some other units, and that's just going to be too much, considering ButteryLlama can just add on whatever he wants during all that. So, ButteryLlama adding on a Spire here, going to be going for some mutas. He does have 12 mutas saved up in the gas here. That's equivalent to 12. Oh, the Roach is coming in here, doing some damage. There are some bandings with this as well, exploding on those Zerglings, and well, the Spinecrawler wall here has perished. So these Roaches here are actually going to be able to get in here, do a bunch of damage. That addition of the Baneling, very good idea. Just not allowing Zerg to attack with those Zerglings. And while ButteryLlama could be in a lot of trouble here, it looks like that Baneling nest is going to be going down. Mutas are coming out now. He does have 5 on the way. Not going to be a lot of mutas, but I mean, that's going to be enough. For now, possibly. There aren't a ton of Roaches here, but Cookie Jar is adding on a whole bunch of Zerglings. That's going to be a lot of damage. This hatchery is definitely going to be going down. And I don't know if ButteryLlama's going to be able to pull his way out of this one. 8 mutas on the way now. And while these drones are going to be forced to go back to mining at the main, that's not what they want to be doing. It's too crowded there. They want to just go out and mine a different base, but they're not going to be able to do so. Alright, so mutas are out now, going to be cleaning this up. Looks like the Zerglings actually turned into Banelings, and now they could be exploding all over that drone line. We'll see if those mutas catch them off guard. We'll see if the drones run away fast enough. And we'll see if Cookie Jar screws this up or not, because I mean, generally speaking, it's pretty hard to screw that up, but well, okay, there's some pretty good spread there. Oh, wow, he went right for that Spire. Alright, so there's not going to be any more mutas after this, apparently. But there are enough out to do some kind of damage. We'll see if Cookie Jar decides to add on some more Spore Crawlers. There goes 1 in the natural, 1 in the main. Actually, 3 in the main. And, well, I don't know if it's going to be enough at the natural. I mean, 1 Queen and 1 Spore is pretty good. You know, there aren't a ton of mutas out. You don't want to overcommit, considering that the mutas are not going to be, you know, coming out forever. You know, actually, it looks like ButteryLlama is going for another Spire. So, I mean, he is going to be producing some more mutas in due time. What is he producing here? Baneling Nest. Looks like Overlord's just going to be rallying to them, trying to make it hard for me to see what it is. And, well, that hatchery is going up once again as well. So, Mew's coming in here. 2 Cookie Jar's base going to be attacking those Banelings first, it looks like. And all the Spore Crawlers are just finishing. Very good timing on that from Cookie Jar. ButteryLlama was a little bit late with deciding to do that, you know. Just getting stuff done in his base. There goes Spore Crawler going up in the main. And, well, even 2 more going up in the main as well. So, I mean, Cookie Jar right now, you know, actually, if I was in his position, I'd be throwing up a lot of spores too. I mean, it's kind of like, okay, if I defend against these mutas, I'm going to be in great shape. So, I mean, throwing up a couple of extra spores is not going to be a big deal. So, these mutas actually are taking a lot of heavy damage here, going to be attacking that Baneling Nest. And, well, as you can see, he's also doing a good job just adding on some drones, adding on this hatchery over here, kind of a ninja expansion. I don't know if those Overlords, you know, those Overlords spot the drone coming in. I don't know if the player actually saw it. I don't know if Cookie Jar actually knows the expansion's going up, but he had the opportunity to see it there. I don't know. We'll see if Cookie Jar decides to do a couple of Banelings can be killed off here as well. And now Cookie Jar, I don't know. He's not adding on a ton of units. He's getting a couple of Zerglings, but I mean, he could have a large force and just really attack in there. Looks like a couple of Zerglings threatening this hatchery. And was ButteryLlama just adding on some more mutas? Just going to be getting up a huge mutalist flock. You know, as Cookie Jar, you don't want to get that mutalist flock too big. Once it's too big, it's kind of like really hard to deal with unless you have layer tech. Looks like he's going for some Hydralisks here, but I mean, you really need investors for like a large mutalist count. So otherwise, they're just going to be going, you know, going between the bases, and you're not going to be able to defend all of them without losing a whole bunch of Hydras. So I mean, you really need that infestor to go up, get off that fungal growth, and just make sure these mutas do not go anywhere so you can kill them off with your Hydras. And, well, I mean, back in the day, I mean, for the last patch, infestors were just awesome against mutas, so I mean, you never saw a muta, but now, since they don't do as much damage, those mutas are going to be quite a nuisance. Where are those mutas? There they are. Just cutting off some random dudes. Hydras, as they pop out. That's really what you want to be doing, just cutting off the Hydra growth, making it so he wastes money. And that's always going to be a nice play to see. And, well, we'll see when Cookie Jar decides to expand. He's pretty well turtled up here. He's got all those spores and all that. What I'd actually really like to see right now is, like, a Nidus back here. You know, like, what would he be able to do? Like, nothing against it. He doesn't have a ton of units. He does have a couple of units in the front here, but these Hydras are going to be a little bit slow to get up there. You can pick off a whole bunch of drones in that time, you know? There's only Queens defending. And, I mean, once you see a bunch of spores, it's kind of like, okay, he just added on a bunch of defense for anti-air. So, I mean, he's not going to be adding on a lot of units. That's a good time to build up a hatchery, get up some drones, you know, get up a big force of your own. And it's also a good opportunity to attack in there with, you know, if you're able to attack in there and abuse a weakness in his defense, you know, then go for it. You know, that's what I say. It's just not really a play that I see a lot of people try to use. You know, it's like, okay, he's got a bunch of spores, so go for a ground attack. You know, like what if he has a bunch of spines in front? That's fine. Just go for a Nidus. But anyways, looks like this mute's gonna be a some more nuisance. Just attacking that spore. Looks like too many spores though. Too many Hydras out there. Forced retreats, and well, looks like Cookie Jar going for an expansion of his own. We'll see when he's able to take that. Meanwhile, mutas are just continuing to flock around. It's just good to move them around, you know. Like it's not so much that like mutas are just super awesome. It's just that because they're able to look around the map so easily without being so threatened, you know, they can cover a lot of space, and that's actually a big fundamental thing that a lot of players overlook. Like, look at this. He went across the middle to check to see if there's anyone watching the tower. You know, checking other things out. He does not know about these overloads apparently, but you know, being able to take out that drone, just being there in the right time, just by moving him around, you know, that's a pretty awesome thing to have going for you. Just try not to keep your mutas in your base because that's gonna suck. If you're not using them to their full potential, try to use all the units to their fullest. And well, there are some Zerglings coming in for a counterattack. He must have seen those drones transfer over there. That's kind of a dangerous thing to do if you do not kill off these overlords. You gotta be really careful of that. And so now, actually, wow, ButteryLlama even has some banelings back there just to make sure that this does not happen. And yeah, that sucks. You know, you're going for a counterattack. You're like, yes, I maybe have an opening here. I can maybe do some damage and get back in this game. No, there's banelings there. They're just gonna explode all over your shit, and you're gonna die. So, well. Looks like he did more on another baneling. That was Cookie Jar's baneling out there. Now the overlords are dead, so there's not going to be any more vision of that. And yeah, now he's stuck with all these Hydralisks. Like, this is a very dangerous spot. You know, Hydralisks are slow. They're big. I mean, they're expensive units. They're, you know, they're pretty much the high cost unit like a tank or like a stalker. You know, like they cost a lot. They're higher tech, which means you can take less bases because they're slower, and you can't really do a lot of pressure with them. Number two, so I mean, ButteryLlama really has a big opportunity to really just get up another base even if he wanted to, and drone up a little bit harder. I mean, he didn't, you know, he's got up a couple of banes. He wants to lay down some pressure with these mutas. I mean, that's why he hasn't really taken the base, because he wants to just keep his muta count up so he can keep pressuring his opponents, which is good. Because I mean, mutas are another like higher tech unit where you can't really get like a ton of, like, you know, of course you can get a ton of them, but they're more costly. They're not like Zerglings where they just like control the map. And they do control the map actually, but you know, it's something you want a big number of, unlike Zerglings. And I don't know. I'm probably making it really confusing because I'm kind of out of it right now. But the point is, big beefy units allow you to take less expansions, make a bigger, stronger push. Of course, mutas are kind of like the exception because they can harass a lot with them. You can harass a lot with them, so I mean they're not that great at a direct counter, but I mean at the same time you can't get up a ton of bases with them. With Zerglings, of course you can. With banelings you can because they're cheap. Mutas are fairly cheap for what they can do, so I mean yes, you can get up a lot of bases. So I mean that's good as well. But with slow Zerglings and Hydras and Infestors, you gotta go for this big, strong push. So I'm glad Cookie Jar is doing it like that instead of throwing away a couple of Hydras here and there, type of thing. And this is really one you want to be expanding when. Oh man, no, don't! Oh man, no way. This is gonna suck. Oh man. Oh god. There goes all the Hydras, a lot of roaches, and wow, that just sucks. You do not want to run into that ever. Oh man, you want an overseer with you guys like at all times, because yeah, you don't want that to happen. It looks like he did some good damage to these mutas, but I mean, when you're doing a big, strong push like that, You can't afford to just lose your guys like that. That's just, oh, that sucks. That absolutely sucks. He should have been throwing down a base at the same time. I really wish he would. Yeah, right now he's forced to GG, you know. There's just nothing he can do. Oh man, that blows. So actually, what I'm gonna do right now is check to see if I have what's I'm gonna call it? A shorter replay. I don't know why it took me so long to think of that. To cast. Out of these 5, I just did like 3 of them, so I have 2 to choose from. See if I have. Whoops, I went to the wrong folder. But if I do have a short one, I'll cast it. If I don't, then yeah, I don't. So I'm not gonna cast it because I do have my show in half an hour. I need a break. Got to rest my voice a little bit. All that good stuff. So yeah, right now, good time. Get some snacks, make some food, do whatever you gotta do. Check your email. So I'll be back in half an hour. Yeah. So if you guys are waiting for that analysis, it'll be here in half an hour. I'm going to be doing, what, 7 games today? I'm kind of laying down the load today for myself. It's actually a really busy week for me. I'm working a lot, and then I got this casting analysis and stuff to do today. I mean, it took the whole afternoon to look over all these games. Of course, a lot of people did submit a bunch of them, and I had to select some of them. You know, I'm not gonna like select from a bunch of people and say like, okay, this person's not gonna be casting, this one it is. I'm gonna just say, okay, if you sent me a bunch, you know, of course I'm gonna look over a bunch of them and decide which one of those I'm gonna cast of your games, and just do 1 per player type of thing for now. So it is a lot of just looking over replays, but it is a pretty fulfilling day, pretty full day, I should say. So without further ado, I'm going to be cutting off the stream. I'm going to start it again, just playing some music so people know that there's going to be analysis later, and then I'll be back in half an hour. So you guys do whatever you got to do before then, and I'll see you guys whenever that starts. So ta-ta.